Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us on our webinar. I am Sheela Roth, Head of Clinical Education here at Pearl, and I am joined by a few team members I'm going to introduce you to. So first, we're going to start with our partner, Curve, and today we have Cody Cadell. Sorry about that, Cody. And she is the Senior Product Specialist at Curve. And Cody, I'd love to introduce you, just have you jump on in and say a few words today. And again, thank you so much for coming on and spending your time with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm delighted to be here. And on behalf of Curve, we are very excited about our partnership with Pearl. And I'm delighted to be here to listen with all of you with Dr. Wu's story. So thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Curve's been an incredible partner for Pearl. You're going to hear a lot more about that during Dr. Wu's wonderful presentation. We also have joining me tonight from Pearl is Kimberly Quieshen. She's the Director of Partner Growth, and happy to have her tonight. We would like Dr. Wu, I will introduce him in a moment, to go through this incredible slideshow, talk a lot about his experience. You're going to love his story and really how I was so inspired by hearing how we can really serve our patients, from keeping patients in our practice and all the additional things that Dr. Wu does to make dentistry so much fun. So Dr. Wu is an incredible clinician, a wonderful speaker. He graduated from Tufts, did a residency at UCLA. He's an author. He's a director of an additional team for clinicians on site, as well as the owner of Emerson Dental, a multi-special practice with 2 locations. How many doctors now, Dr. Wu?
We're at 9 now. So
9 doctors. Incredible. So he's also a guru in incorporating technology into his practice. And so I'm so thankful to have you here, Dr. Wu. I will turn it over to you, and we are looking forward to hearing from you tonight.
and thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Curve, and thank you, Pearl, for putting up this webinar. I'm so excited to be here. Of course, I would rather not compete with Thursday night football. I know that's what everybody's thinking. So for that reason, I'm going to get started. And just like in football, I'm going to have to call an audible, and we're going to do a no huddle offense. So I'm going to have the scripted plays. So this is going to be our goals for today. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm also going to talk to you about my journey through dentistry, and then talk about the different specialties and how I integrated them and some advantages and disadvantages of that. And then I'd like to talk about some technology advances and some challenges and special considerations to think about. And finally, I'll leave some time for questions and some final thoughts. So just like in football, when you're running plays, we're going to set goals, crush them, and repeat. So off we go. Sheila already introduced me, so I'm going to keep this very brief. I've been both East Coast and West Coast trained, and I've integrated lots of different technologies through my practice over the years. Most recently, I've integrated Curve dental software in 2021, going to the cloud. And obviously, I actually just integrated Pearl AI, Second Opinion, 4 weeks ago. So it's fresh off the press here. So I'm going to give you my honest to goodness from cloud software, and how quickly I've done it and how my teams adapted to it very quickly here. My goal for this is to entertain, educate, and inspire all of you. That's my main goal. And what I'm always looking for when I'm integrating technology isn't just about the technology. I'm looking to partner with companies that are always striving for continuous improvement. That is always the kind of partner I'm looking for. So next, we're going to go on to my dental journey. And again, we're going to set the goals, crush them, and repeat. So like Sheila said earlier, I graduated my AGD residency at UCLA. And then in 2010, as an associate, I actually purchased the practice. It was a single doctor practice. It was 5 dental chairs. It roughly had about $1 million in revenue. And I was a solo practitioner for about a year and a half, and I really realized it was kind of lonely. My friend there had finished his pedo residency, And it really was an accident how he started with me. I had to fly to Taiwan, unfortunately, for my aunt's funeral, and I needed someone to babysit my office because I had to fly across the globe and I had to take 2 weeks off. And I, obviously being a single doctor, I needed someone to watch it for me. I thus came back from that trip and I looked at my schedule and I said, why do I have a 1-year-old in my schedule? And he said, oh, don't worry about it. I was watching and they found out I'm a pediatric dentist and they said that they were going to bring their kids. And I told them I'd come here once a month and see your kids for you. Needless to say, fast forward, I added pediatric dentistry and I outgrew the 5-chair practice. I added perio, I added endo. And in 2015, I expanded to 8 chairs. We started doing about 1.5 million in revenue, and we kept growing because that's what happens. And from 2015 to 2019, I outgrew the space again, and I said, you know, either I expand the space or I build a second location, and that's where we're at here. And then you guys all know what happened in 2020. We had a pandemic, and that obviously slowed some growth, but currently to this date, at 2024, we're about 4 million, and I have, like I said earlier, 9 doctors and 26 employees now. Integrating the specialties. I'm going to go through each specialty, positives, negatives, pros and cons, endo, perio, oral surgery, ortho, and pediatrics. Now, ortho and oral surgery are the 2 specialties I did not integrate yet, partly because of space, and we'll talk about that here. Now, the Journal of Multidisciplinary Care, Decisions in Dentistry, they showed the graphs of different types of specialty care provided and the growth areas out there. And thanks to patient demand and technology, multi-specialty care adds revenue streams, but it also attracts new patients and marketing. And really, for many of you to think about this, the guaranteed way to make money is to do what others won't do or do what others can't do. And just think about that. So I mean, I was in dental school. Some people are like, you know, I don't want to ever do pedo. I get it. Some people are like, no, you know, I never want to do endo. So to each their own. But if you really want to expand and you want an easy way to revenue grow, you got to do something that others can't do or won't do. And so for those of you who are solo GPs, you can either expand your procedures or you can expand and add specialists. Like the African proverb here, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Obviously, I chose the latter. I'm like, I'm going to go far, but we got to go together. So me and my little elephants, we all gathered together, and now there's 9 of us. Now, I like to kind of put things into segments. As I go through each specialty, I'm going to talk about training versus recruiting and hiring, different CE opportunities for those of you who are going to go to the solo GP route. For me, obviously, I'm going to talk about how I expanded it and the things to consider. There's legal and referral considerations, the standard of care for coverage, equipment and supply costs, the barriers to entry, and then obviously each different specialty has different things. Some of them are heavy on space, some of them are heavy on staffing, and then the biggest thing is there's always growth opportunities for each specialty and how you're going to market that. So we'll start with endo. And now the x-rays you see on the right are my father. And so I'm going to say to you, there's no HIPAA with my family. So throughout this, all the x-rays that you're going to see of my family. So anybody who's my family, automatically, they already know they signed up to be parts of my presentation. So training for endo, for those of you who are going to do it yourself, there is an awesome website called eSchool by Sonia Chopra, if you want to do so. One of the things with endo you have to consider is emergency coverage. People are going to be in pain. People are going to have post-op pain. So if you're going to integrate this into your practice, you got to make sure that you or your specialist have ways of how you're going to cover the emergency coverage. The equipment and supplies costs, it's about moderate. You're going to have to consider CBCT, microscope, rotary, and apex locator. Now, capacity, it's minimal. You're looking at one chair, one assistant, and maybe a side book chair for follow-ups. The best growth opportunity, as you can see with my dad, is endo crown same-day treatment. Like I said earlier, I'm a CEREC doctor, so we can do the endo, the crown, one visit. And nowadays, patients don't want to come back. That's the reality. If you can do same-day dentistry, most patients will take a day off and they can get everything done. And it's great marketing, and it's also great profitability because you don't have to flip the chair. So as you see, my dad, as you see in number 19 here, had the endo done same day and the crown same day. Now, like I said, fast forward now, it's still my dad. And about 2023, last year, after 7 years of that crown, it came off. And as you can see, there wasn't that much tooth left there. And so with oral surgery, now you can see he took that road of extracting the tooth. And now we didn't do same day implant placement, but you can see we were able to restore it. Now, considerations for implant and perio, for those of you who are going to go the slow, low GP route, implant pathways are great CEs for you to take. Similar to endo, you're going to have to worry about emergency coverage and pain. Equipment and supply costs are fairly high, especially if you're going to be placing implants, because you have to have rolling inventory. You're going to probably spend about $20,000 of implants because you have to have the different size implants and the different SKUs, and there is a lot of inventory management. Something for you guys to consider because there is upfront costs. Spacing and staff, you're going to need about at least 2 chairs, one working chair, and then you'll obviously have the second, like for follow-ups and consults. And the growth opportunities, immediate implant placement, immediate temp crown. And again, perio and oral surgery are best paired with endo. They'll use CBCT as well. And so if you're already buying a CBCT for endo, you obviously can easily add perio, and your margin dollars will be, you can actually utilize it so that you can cut down your costs. Now we go into ortho. Everybody obviously is doing Invisalign, and that's a popular thing, but you have to understand of cases that are going to be harder and out of your scope. And Molus coaching through Align, great for those GPs that want to expand their knowledge. Now, considerations for ortho is length of treatment, especially if you hire orthodontists, which I didn't, because of exactly that. Finishing cases. If you're going to have changes in the orthodontist, you have to make sure that you have some sort of clause on how you're going to finish cases. Equipment and supply costs are low and moderate, but staffing and space is ginormous. Now, most orthodontists on a typical day see anywhere from 80 to 100 patients a day. So it can blow up your waiting room. So these are things that if you're going to integrate the specialty, you either have to give them the whole office and shut it down, and you're going to have ortho days, or you better be ready to expand and knock down walls and build out a whole wing of ortho. Growth opportunities, it's best paired with pedo and oral surgery because they kind of go hand in hand. And as I said earlier, family doesn't have HIPAA, and there's my daughter, Scarlett, and she does, since we don't carry ortho, my good friend, Brian Ting and the Reikelds, RTO, is doing her case as we speak. Pediatrics, it's all about fun. And here you see my 3 girls, and my youngest one, baby Belle, that was her first visit. And with pediatrics, it really is marketing, and it's all about patient management. Legal and referral considerations, I would say there's sedation and behavior management. Now, similar to ortho, it's low to moderate supply costs. It also requires staff and spacing, and it's high volume. And kids, they just multiply. But the growth opportunities is convenience to family. The adults and the kids can be seen at the same time, and it's marketing. And one of the analogies that my dear friend Jerry and I always say about pedo It's like going to In-N-Out. It has a very simple menu. You either do prophy with x-rays, prophy without x-rays, prophy with fluoride, prophy without fluoride, or all three. So he always says, like In-N-Out, double burger, double burger with fries, double burger with shake. That's it. There's not that much on the menu. So that being said, it's more about patient management, and it's also managing the flow. That's the biggest challenge. And one of the lovely things about pedo, as you can see my daughter here, we make little bibs in my practice, and it says, I already have a dentist. Do you? The easiest patient for you to have is one that doesn't already have a dentist. And the easiest patient to get that is right when they are born. So in our practice, our rule is they start at age 1 or the first tooth, and it's all about relationship building. That's really the art of pediatrics. And like I said, do what others can't do or they won't do. Now to technology advances. Boy, technology's changed. Now we're really behind the desk. We're behind the computer, just being on this Zoom call. It was not too long ago. I remember giving lectures in live, and I still prefer live. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still getting used to this whole Zoom, and there's technology challenges. If we were live, obviously, we wouldn't have to worry about these technology challenges, but such is life. Now, there's me and Jerry. We went to Washington, D.C., and him and I, when we took this picture, I said to him, can you imagine at one point in our career, this was state of the art. This is probably a state of the art chair. And it really shows you how fast technology's changed. Even with our cell phones, x-rays, I just think about how much dentistry's changed in the short career I've had. I'm about, actually this coming May is my 20th dental school reunion. And I'm like, wow, in the last 20 years, how much has everything changed? Because I was of that generation that we use Fixer and Developer, and they said, oh, I remember when I was in dental school, oh, the traditional x-rays is better than digital, the quality's better. Well, not so. Now you can see with Pearl AI and how much it's developed. And Dr. Sui and I had done some studies with Pearl, and we were both very impressed because him and I both looked at probably over 10,000 x-rays. And one of the things that we said it both to Sheela. We were like, you know what? AI is going to win because our eyes are hurting. And even though we can probably diagnose better, single x-ray, you repeat 10,000 x-rays, we're going to lose because our eyes get tired and we're going to forget and we're going to make mistakes. Even impressions. I remember there was a time when people were like, oh, impressions, it's so much more accurate than these scanners. Well, not so. I would say, how many of you guys are digital scanning? I mean, I've seen how quickly these technologies have gotten better and better and better every year. To share that with you, in 2017, I had the OmniCam. It was Christmas. And how quickly from the OmniCam, I went to the Prime Scan, and I've seen the scanners keep getting faster and faster, more and more accurate. If you look and check out my LinkedIn, I have videos on how we integrated CEREC and obviously Curve. And I hope to make some more videos with Pearl on how I integrate that. So short time, everything keeps getting better and better. It's kind of a weird curve, and it's fast. These are different technologies I've integrated in my practice. Curve cloud computing is getting better and better with the 2024 curve is better than the 2022 curve. I integrated in 2021, and I can tell you it's pretty impressive how many different things that they've changed, and they've been listening to their customers, and they're always committed to the same thing I've said. They're committed to continuous improvement. The mobile app that came out last year has allowed for emergency calls, and all my doctors really love it because they have access to it mobily. And Pearl's Second Opinion is a great marketing tool for efficiency, and also a second, as it's called, a second opinion. And Method is something I use for dental supplies. It's a great one platform to price compare and inventory management. And for those who like to perio chart and record everything, voice activated parachart will save you not only time, but also manpower. You won't have to go and bug your assistant for those hygienists out there. Oh, hey, do you mind perio charting with me? Voice activated parachart, you don't have to go and drag somebody else to come in the room with you. Now, I can barely walk and chew gum at the same time. So, but what I want to do is give you a little video. I took a video because it would be easier for me to go through this with you guys. But this is Pearl's second opinion. And as you can see here, this patient here, as you can see, it actually helps you to identify all of the areas where they see are problem areas. One of the great things that I love is it actually is a great education tool where we can show the patient how much of the caries or the cavity has gone through to the enamel and how much is in the dentin, and then really highlighting it. You can see and you can show the patient where the bone levels are. And in the short time, like I said, I just integrated this 4 weeks ago. I can show the patient, look, the AI has identified all these problem areas. Hey, it's noticed that this margin is notable and it's not as well sealed. And it really is a education tool for patient understanding. I like that we can also colorize it. So rather than the 50 shades of gray that most patients see, they can actually understand what the issues are. And for those of you who have used Curve, one of the great things is that you can actually measure it, because Curve's software doesn't allow you this, but because of the partnership with Pearl, you can actually measure the length of the tooth. And there you can see the colorization. I didn't think the colorization was such a big deal, but when I presented to the patient, it was all the difference. The patient's eyes lit up and they're like, oh, that's what the tooth looks like. Because for them, they just look at it and they're like, oh, it's just 50 shades of gray. And as you can see, both the doctors and the patients were impressed with what it can do. And who knows what the futures will hold. You may not want to be the first one to adopt technology, but what I'll say to you guys all is don't be the last. Now we'll go to Curve. I want to give you a brief overview. And like I said, I took videos on this because I have a hard time chewing gum and walking at the same time. It showed you log in, and certainly if you want to refer a friend, you can get $300 with Curve. I didn't really notice that when I recorded this video. And I'm going to show you kind of how Curve's software works. I love the sidekick here. It's one screen and a mobile app. I put everything on HIPAA. I have 2 locations. This is my Bedford office. And so you can see how the schedule, I can go through one office and I can look at the other. Everything's all navigated through this screen. And they also have a mobile app. Curve Grow is their communication tool. And this is on a busy day. You can see in the schedule there, that's my periodontist, and we're having surgery. You can see the green is the follow-ups. The orange on the left is the surgeries. And then, I mean, this is how busy my Westford location is. This is an endo day, so you can see the endodontics is there. On the left is pediatrics, and then the general dentist and the hygiene. We are a CEREC office, so you can see how everything's green. We're doing single visit dentistry. And Curve really has a nice ecosystem because it integrates so seamlessly with Bola and Mango and Pearl that it actually seems like it almost seems like it's part of the software. So, this is my mother-in-law, and like I said to you, she doesn't get HIPAA, so I'm going to show you her case. This is Bola. It's voice activated perio charting. You can have settings. There's a lavalier where you can actually talk right into it. I didn't do that for this because I don't have a patient to perio chart. But I wanted to show you a brief overview of how the highlights of Curve is. This is my mother-in-law. She hadn't gone to the dentist regularly, and so I wanted to show you her x-rays, and I wanted to also show you her full mouth case. One of my associates did this case. And one of the nice things about Curve is you can put different designs and templates that you can build yourself on how you want to show off to the patients. Now, my mother-in-law, you can see that she is a little bit of a bruxer. So she wore down her teeth a little bit here. And, as you can see, she's very happy, and we are able to show off her smile. Everything's in privacy, but you can have billing, and we can see the recare and claims. I'm not the expert at that. So for those of you guys who want to know more about the billing and all the other features, I'm sure Cody would be happy to elaborate on those things. The quick buttons on it, and then all the different procedures. Really, Curve is very simple and it's very intuitive to use. I've had new employees come in, and within days, they're really easily navigate through the software. Also, our Copia is synced together with Curve, so you can easily launch into writing prescriptions. And I also do it. You can also do it from your phone, which I like. One of the things I'll also show you is Dr. Sui and I were actually so impressed with Pearl's second opinion. I'm going to show you. This is his daughter, and his daughter. Well, you can see the little button there, second opinion. It almost seems like Pearl's integrated, or Pearl's in conjunction with Curve. But one of the most impressive thing is how well it picked up all of her little incipient decay. So he was very impressed. He said to me, he's like, yeah, all these little incipient decays, it just honed right into it. Now, she's obviously the daughter of a pediatric dentist. So as a father, he was a little disappointed, but I think for all my dental colleagues out there, anytime it's your own family, you're like, you hate to see it, but I thought it was a great education tool for everybody to see how second opinion really picked up on all the incipient decay and the measurements on there. Now, me and Jerry like I said, we work together, but we also go on vacations together. And we went to Disney together. And him and I's hope is one day that technology will advance, that we'll have our own R2 unit, like in Star Wars, and we can have the R2 droid handle all the analysis of X-rays, optimize schedule, optimize healthcare results, optimize all of our efficiencies and supplies. So really, Curved Cloud Dental Database has been great for us to coordinate the multi-specialty care and the communication. Pearl's second opinion, and they are coming out with a calibration tool that I'm very excited to try very soon. And that's going to be great for the 9 doctors I have, for us to calibrate ourselves on how we analyze X-rays as well. And Method has been a great way for us to streamline the procurement of our supplies amongst the different providers, suppliers, and all the different, have it all on one single platform, so we don't have to go through different logins and websites. So now, coming near the end here, challenges and special considerations. Well, what are your challenges, especially if you're going to grow? Well, if you're going to make more money, you have 3 options if you're not going to expand your procedures. You got to grow and make more or charge more. You either that, or you kind of cut your expenses and eliminate and start having the redundancies, or you're going to increase your operational efficiency or decrease the pain. And as with anything, location, 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 and training people for any specialty that you're going to integrate is probably going to be your biggest challenge. Now, Jerry and I, like I said, we always travel and we always look at different dental offices and we always take pictures in front of them. And one of the things that we always talk about when we see other offices, we really analyze, like, what do they do for their efficiencies? And, we always hope that one day that R2D2 droids will really optimize that for everybody out there. And so as the special considerations, as you grow your network, and for those of you who are going to try to go down the same path of trying to network and get more specialists to join you, the growing the network goes through a path. It goes from accidents to acquaintances to associates to advocates and allies. And as I said earlier, Jerry and I went to dental school together. So we kind of met by accident. I mean, we didn't meet and say, hey, you want to work together and grow this multi-specialty practice? And so accidents happen, for example, when you're seated on a plane in 14A and next to you is a 14, your stranger is 14B and you meet by accident. And that's just kind of how things go. You know, an accident is a person that you'll never see again, but you make it happen. You exchange contact or you stalk them to get back in touch. In one study, 27% of people develop a relationship with someone they met on the plane, pre-flight entertainment, or, they met by someone by chance. Now, acquaintances, that's usually your outermost circle. Imagine the word acquaintance. It's a person that you could find again if you had to, but it's something that you have someone in common. You either went to school together or you met someone at a wedding. And these are people that you want to diversify your network. And so for those of you who are looking to add a specialist, go through your network and see if somebody knows somebody that you're going to, hey, I'm looking for an endodontist to join my practice. Do you know of anybody? And go through your network to see if you can find people. Now, obviously, associates the next inner circle. And that's someone who belongs to a group that you belong. That's someone you're going to see repeatedly. Someone at school, at work, at function, like a dental convention, someone in your Spears study club. Those, they're going to be easy context for you to develop. However, one of the biggest mistakes that you do with networks is that you don't develop these relationships enough. And you really should act on these. Now, the next inner circle is advocates. These are people that when you make relationships to become more relevant. What happens is your contacts they're going to be more out there to help you. And really there's someone that's going to be an advocate of you, your business, and they're looking at the next steps with you. Now, obviously the biggest and ultimate goal for everybody is to have allies. That's your inner circle, your circle of trust. And these are allies like your personal board of directors. They know where you're headed. They will do all they can to help you reach your goals. And they actually seek out opportunities for you. This is what everyone wants. But you can't get allies without accidents. And really, my encouragement for all of you is to go that path. It's not luck. It takes time and effort to get to this level, but the results can be extraordinary. And now questions and final thoughts. These are my two little puppies. Again, nobody in my family, not even my dogs they don't get HIPAA. Now, we're coming towards the end here. And for those of you on the webinar, if you can give me a little vote and let me know. I'm of the Gen X generation. So for those of you know, I used to have those choose your own adventure books. So I like to make this webinar choose your own adventure for the next topic. I can do one with accident and allies, where you can see in the picture there. That's where me and Jerry, when we were first marketing the practice, we were Mario and Luigi, and that's my good dear friend, Dr. Saraf, who's our endodontist. We were marketing and doing trunk or treat to the little kids, and that's how we market our practice. And so that's one topic. I'm happy to talk a little bit more in detail. And I have talked to Sheela. I'll bring Dr. Jerry on and we can have a little Batman and Robin story, and him and I can tag team on a webinar. Number two is I'm happy to do cost versus price, my CPA by my side, part 2. I had done a webinar about 5 years ago with my CPA and we talked about the numbers. And so I'm happy to do that. Or number 3, I can do more technology updates. I love technology, so I'm happy to play with different toys. You tell me, guys, what you want. Or number 4, Dr. Wu, your choices suck. What would really be revolutionary would be blank. That's my most favorite choice. So please send it in the chat, send it to email, send it in the survey, bombard Sheila's inbox, because it'll be really funny to see what we come up with here. So I thank you for you guys all. Hopefully I get you at least to the second half of Thursday Night Football. Follow me on Instagram. You're welcome to message me. I will respond to you. And on LinkedIn, Um, the Way of the Wu is my nickname, and I have a method QR code, and there's a QR code there here for Curve. I have a case study for all of you. And you guys can even mail out and tell everybody that you want the Way of the Wu combo package. You're going to get Curve, you're going to get Pearl, you get Method, you can get it all. So thank you all.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Wu, that was so entertaining. We're so thankful for your story. So very encouraging. I have a question for you, actually. If I'm sitting here through this incredible experience that I've just had so much information at me, and I loved how you gave us kind of where to go with each type of specialty you're looking to incorporate, some of the concerns to be mindful of, and really those next steps. You really kind of helped lay it out today. But if you were to redo it again, and Jerry didn't slide into your office, what would you say would be that number one first thing you put into your practice? Would you say it would be specialty, pedo, or specialty ortho, or what would you say would be the number one specialty you would start with?
So I think based on ease, usually endo's probably the easiest one because pain is an easy seller.
Yeah.
Now, next, I would actually say pedo because there's not a lot of upfront costs, but it's pedo. It grows fast and it's a great marketing tool, especially if you're trying to grow your practice. Now, I think perio or oral surgery is great, but there's a lot of upfront costs because you're going to have rolling inventory for implants and all those things. But there isn't a perfect answer on that. So, it kind of depends on how your practice is set up, how much space you have, and really kind of what your interests are.
Excellent. And I guess another good question for me too to ask you would be, for those of us watching, is what was the biggest struggle when you were moving your practice management software? You were saying Curve was super easy to use, but what was the issue you felt like was the most challenging to overcome?
Well, change is not easy. It's always painful. So, it's the bigger your office, the more wrinkles there are and the more opinions you have. And so when I integrated Curve, it was in 2021. At that time, I think I had 22 employees. And, it's like with anything, some people in your group, it's a bell curve, right? So some people pick up it really easily. Some people are in the middle, and then there's the stragglers. And there's nothing wrong with the stragglers. They just need to help and work together as a team. And I would say that was probably the biggest struggle, just getting everybody to row at the same time. For those of you who have smaller offices, I always say small office, small problems, big office, bigger problems. Or it's like kids, small problems, bigger kids, bigger problems.
Yes, absolutely. So I kind of wanted to shift over to Pearl a little bit and then also on to Curve, but what is your experience when you and your team are looking at images as far as, the second opinion side of things, the accuracy, how the images are coming in, not having to upload them? What are your thoughts there? And what's something you would tell the doctors about especially the doctors that are fearing AI? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's one of the things I'll say is it's not doctor versus AI. Just get that out of it. It's doctor with AI. Really, it's an enhancement tool and it's only going to make you better. And it's a marketing tool. Every patient loves AI. I promise you that because they all know about it and they're like, oh, this is great. The doctor has that. We all use autocorrect. It's not perfect. We all use spell check. And so that's what I presented to the patients. This is another tool for us to make sure that we are thorough with our exam, both clinically and diagnostically. And it's a double check system that we're asking the AI to show us any anomalies in your mouth. Not all of it do I agree with. Some of it's something that it's identifying early issues. Doesn't mean it's a treatment. It's just something that we're going to know. And it really gives you a much more comprehensive and thorough exam.
Excellent. I've
And
heard.
And as I said earlier, maybe you're not the first to adopt technology, but you don't want to be the last. And so for all my doctors out there, I promise you're not going to be the first because there's always that person. I'm one of them. So now what I'm saying to you is don't be the last. Because can you imagine are you still taking impressions? Are you still doing developer and fixer for your x-rays? Most of you should be digital by now. So most of you, maybe in the next 5 years, you're all going to be integrating AI.
I do see that as well, as far as that being the standard of care. And I think one thing I would say is in being able to have such an incredible tool with AI, the fact that it's inside of Curve makes it so convenient. So the team still has all these capabilities that they're used to, and then they have Pearl to be able to be right in the center when they're reviewing radiographs. So it doesn't require them to go to an extra step, and it keeps the workflow to be very similar to what they're used to before using AI. So do you want to talk a little bit about, I know your team's already up and running and using it, and you haven't even had training yet, but the fact that it's just inside that Curve workflow that you're currently used to, tell us a little bit about how it's been with working with your doctors and learning curves. I don't want to say learning curves, but a lack of learning curve here.
Well, actually, I'll share this with you. I had a friend of mine reach out to me. He actually thought Pearl came with Curve because it just integrated so seamlessly. He's like, oh, so you get Curve and Pearl together. I'm like, no, it's two separate softwares, but it looks so conjoined. He didn't know it was another, software. I'm like, no, it's two separate things. He's like, oh, it like just integrates like that. That's what my team says. That's what my patients say. They're like, oh, it's part of it now. It's almost like melded together.
I love that. And I think also on this QR code for the Curve, there was a case study that you had done. So that'll be very interesting for everybody to kind of click on that, read a little bit more, have your Instagram. I would encourage you to work to reach out to Dr. Wu. There's such an incredible amount of information. He's so helpful and willing to walk you through moving into Curve or using AI. Also, it seems like you are the guru of technology. So all the other things you've incorporated. Cody, do you want to have any other closing thoughts for us before we wrap up tonight?
Really don't have any closing thoughts. This was amazing to be a part of, and thank you for having us on here. That was awesome.
Excellent. Okay, well, we will hopefully see all of you soon. Dr. Wu, thank you again for coming tonight. And please feel free, all of you, to reach out to us. We'd be happy to share any more information with you. Thanks again for watching.